America about gun control. American journalist Beth Gardiner is in our central London studio. Beth, good afternoon. We heard very strong words from President Obama. Do you think what has happened there to this town will change things in America?
Well, you know, it's very hard to say, and it's really early days at the moment in terms of answering the question as to whether this is going to prompt a shift significantly in public opinion. I think you have to start by saying that if Americans agreed in a majority sort of a way that gun control was a clear solution, then we would have seen change a long time ago, because this is far from the first, as you know, of these sort of massacres to have occurred. Having said that, the words that we heard from President Obama at the memorial service in Newtown yesterday were a lot stronger than anything he said before. There are a lot of voices now being raised in favor of stricter laws, and we heard that yesterday on some of the Sunday shows. Mayor Bloomberg, in particular, of New York, speaking out in favor of real change and calling on Obama in very vehement terms to step up to the plate and show some leadership here. I think if we do see a tightening of the laws and if we see any action, it's going to come basically in three areas. The first is on the question of background checks. There's a very large loophole now in the law which requires that if you purchase a gun in a shop, you will have your background checked for any criminal convictions, mental illness, anything like that. But private gun sales, which account for about 40% of all sales, including these enormous gun shows, are exempt from that background check. So that's a big area where we might see some action. The other potential areas are possibly a ban on these semi-automatic assault weapons. Senator Feinstein of California has already announced that she's going to be introducing a bill to that effect as soon as the new Congress convenes. And the other area that we've been hearing a lot of talk about is these very, very high-capacity magazines of ammunition, where you have 100 or more bullets in one magazine, and that allow a gunman to fire off a tremendous number of shots in a very short span of time.
Beth, has there been any indication from the very powerful gun lobby that there is in America that there is room for manoeuvre, that there is a way of compromise?
No, I don't think so. They've been very quiet in the last few days. So most of the voices we've been hearing are from the gun control side. I have noticed that, you know, while there's a lot of calls being issued for, some action from Obama on gun control, they do seem to be, the same voices that we've heard all along. As I mentioned, Mayor Bloomberg and some of the prominent Democratic senators. What I have not heard, what I think we've not seen so far, is voices from within the Republican Party, some moderate Republicans, people who've been supporters of gun rights, to come forward and say, you know, maybe there's room for some regulation on these large capacity magazines or these semi-automatic weapons. So I think until you see those sorts of people speaking up, we're really not going to know whether there's going to be a significant shift here.
Beth Gardiner, American journalist. Thanks very much, Beth.
Thank you.
Well, Friday's shooting has brought back memories of Britain's worst school massacre, Dunblane. 16 school children and